Good afternoon, everyone. Chris Berryman here, coalition builder and founder of Bringing Humanity Together. Welcome to another Bringing Humanity Together live stream here, not only live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on our business Facebook page too as well. This is one of the three open forums under the Bringing Humanity Together umbrella where people can discuss topics related to the workplace, humanity in their workplace in a very positive and constructive way. We want to know what the issues are out there that are facing people today because it is our goal to both work with employers and employees to bring humanity back into the workforce. And as always, we'll be going live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all at 3 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, except for today. Conversations for Humanity has a 15-minute meet and greet, so come join us, and we would love to have you. We'll put the live link shortly in the social media platform so you guys can join. We can have up to 10 people at a time, so just be aware of that. So we may have to get some people in and out. And if you do comment or ask questions or want to bring up a topic, we would love to hear from you. Please let us know where you're watching from, or if you want to jump on, like I said, just say hi, I want to join, and we'll have one of our great partners here at Bringing Humanity Together get you in and everything like that. So remember, Sharing Care with Sandy Chernoff is always every Tuesday. I host Conversations for Humanity every Wednesday. And Carla Fedigan hosts Humanity Happy Hour tomorrow, which is on every Thursday. Like I said, feel free to jump on, comment where you're watching from. Please feel free to actually invite your family, friends, coworkers, your fur babies, all of them. We would love to have them a part of the conversation too as well. So, hello, Miss Sandy Chernoff. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Chris. I always look forward to these conversations because I find them engaging, interesting, and fun. And so, I look forward to who's going to hop on today. I hope Brian will be here. I always like his comments.
Well, we got none other than Jerry Torres from Southern California. Jerry, thank you for watching. We would love to have you here. Let me put the link into the LinkedIn Live here shortly, and we would love to have you part of the conversation today. So let me go on to LinkedIn Live, put in that link so you guys can be able to join into the call today. So thank you, Jerry, for joining us today. So here we go. So join us live here. Here we go. There we go. Join us live here. I can't see today because I'm a little foggy. Join. There we go. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Join us here and copy and paste. There you go. And there you go, Jerry. There is the link. We would love to have you on. And anyone else who would like to join, we would love to have you on because today's topic uh, is the calling of bringing humanity together. And when the rest of the team comes, I'm going to have the team share their story and their calling with each and every single one of you watching today of why they joined me on this journey. And they join each other by very definition and by design, I think. And I truly know that in my heart of hearts. I think it was no fluke. It just happened. So that's what we're going to be talking about today is the calling of bringing humanity together. What are we called to do here, not only as a movement, a purpose, an organization, and maybe more importantly, just human beings? What can we do to uplift and inspire humanity to not only take that stand for humanity, but more importantly, become a part of something bigger than of ourselves? Hello, Patrick.
Patrick, nice to see you.
How you doing, Patrick? Good, good, good. Glad you're here today. Jerry, like I said, if you want to chime in, we would love to have you on the live stream, so you can just click that link, and we would love to have you. But that, like I said, that's today's theme of the call is, like I said, the calling of bringing humanity together. We're going to share our stories and our missions and purpose and calling that's been interconnected to what I'm building here with all these great people. And I truly believe in my heart of hearts, we definitely need to share that so people can see what we're doing and what we will do and what we're truly about. Because once we truly connect with the heartbeat of humanity, I truly believe we're going to end up starting the revolution to a certain extent. It will become the next rise or renaissance of humanity that I truly believe now, ever before in human history, can be at our fingertips right here, right now. So, like I said, Patrick, I just thank you so much for all the great and engaging conversations that we've had with you. So we how do I want to put this? How do we interconnect calling and purpose when it comes into an organization? How do we start that process? Is there a process that we can do, or maybe just let it fall while it may?
Expound upon that just a little bit further, if you would.
Say that again, Patrick.
Just expound upon that a little bit further. If you can just give me a wider berth.
Well, I truly believe purpose can be interconnected with a calling, because see, everything I truly believe is interconnected to each other. So you can't have a calling without intention. You can't have intention without a purpose. You can't have a purpose without calling. So they are interconnected. It's almost like a step process.
Right.
You got to be intentional first, and maybe even go there. But there's some people are so uniquely different that they can say, "Hey, I know my calling. I just know it." And sometimes they work backwards to that other end of the spectrum.
Right.
And I believe humanity is so unique by design, because I truly believe that we can come together as a collective, but we can see the interconnectedness there. And also from an individual standpoint, we can work within our model of the world to such a degree that, like I said, we just let things naturally be, let things naturally occur, and just let people be who they are.
Hi, Carla.
Hello, Carla.
Hey guys, how are you?
Doing great on this wonderful Wednesday.
So, what you said was great, but I think what has to happen is for an organization to really become centered around the concept of humanity, there has to be an underlying reason that everybody shares. What is their commonality? What's there? What is it ties them all together? Now, that doesn't mean that each person can have another thing they want to do, which that should be explored as well. But I think that's how it all starts to build out. If you have a core, you can grow from anything.
Your thoughts, Sandy?
Well, I think our core is bringing humanity back to the workplace, Chris. I think it's helping employees and employers create, commit to, and maintain an internal culture that is respectful, supportive, encouraging, and acknowledging. And if an organization can have an internal culture that exemplifies those elements, then they will have happy, creative, productive employees. And they will also have happy customers, because when people enjoy their work and are proud of where they work, they want their customers to be happy and keep coming back. So you don't need to worry about customer service. They're going to be nice to the customers. So it's just a matter of what are we trying to do? But I think that, when you bring humanity back to the workplace, you help them to create that kind of internal culture. Because as I've said before, just because somebody has a brilliant idea for a business does not mean that they're going to be a good boss or that the business is going to be successful. And many small businesses fail because the people whose idea it is do not know how to run a business. So they just, it just falters and they just can't keep it going. It's a matter of, when you start a business, it's a minefield. I mean, it really is, that you've got to learn to navigate in order to bring your business forward and get it on, some even footing so that it can start taking off. But it's a matter of hiring the right people and acknowledging their contribution, helping them to fulfill their potential. And when they do, then their self-esteem rises, their confidence rises, so they work better. And that means that the team will be more successful. And so everybody wins, because if the teams are successful, then the business will be successful. I mean, again, we're not talking rocket science here. We're talking humanity. And when people are humane with each other, hi, Brian, always nice to see you, then I think that we have a far better chance of having a successful, long-lasting business. It's just a matter of, what are we doing? And again, as I said to you yesterday, Chris, I mean, the reason that I jumped on board here is because what you're doing is what I've been doing for the past 17 years. And so it just resonated with me because I went into healthcare and I continued with soft skills when I retired from healthcare because my aim is to help people. So when I was helping them in dentistry, I was helping them to be healthy. But now what I'm doing is I'm helping them to be successful in every aspect of their life, because if their soft skills are good, they will be successful in every aspect of their lives. And unfortunately, as we know, those skills are not generally taught in most programs. Some people are naturally good at this, and they just are. But most people aren't, and they don't even understand what the problem is. So it's a matter of helping people to understand that if they can communicate more effectively, if they can handle their stress, if they can time manage, if they can deal with their colleagues appropriately and deal with conflict in a positive and encouraging way, then, things are going to be good. But it's just a matter of learning the strategies and the approaches and the skills to be able to do those things. And if you can, heck, it just makes your life so much easier, because it just means that you can handle whatever obstacle comes your way. And it's just a matter of knowing what to do. So again, it's not necessarily that hard. However, we can't make people do things they don't want to do. And if people aren't interested in growing and learning and getting to be better at dealing with their life, then it's a lost cause. I mean, you might as well just go over there and bang your head against the wall. You can't make adults do things they don't want to do. They need to recognize that they have a problem and that they need some help. And we all know that with our kids. You can't make your kids do anything either. So, it's no different with adults. So it's just a matter of understanding that if they recognize the problem, they will seek a solution. And that's when they will come to us. And then we will sit down with them and learn very specifically what they are requiring. And once we learn that, then we can customize a program, providing them with the elements, the strategies, the approaches, and the skills that will help them to deal with whatever is causing them pain. Again, not rocket science, but we have to do a lot of listening to the prospective clients so that we can find out what they really are looking for, so that we can be sure to help them.
Carla?
Well, I couldn't agree with Sandy more. I mean, I came to this group and this mission because it resonated with me, because I saw so many issues in healthcare that needed to be addressed. I saw so many nurses with burnout and there's burnout coaches abound on LinkedIn and all social media platforms. But they're teaching them survival skills. They're not doing anything to work with an organization to recognize that there is a problem and what can they do to retain nurses. I mean, there's hospitals that are paying their staff nurses that are employed through them less money than what they're paying for an agency nurse. And there's nurses that are in the facilities that are like, well, why are you paying them more than you're paying me? And they're like, and you expect me to pick up extra shifts because you're not able to staff the facilities? Forget it, But one thing I like what Sandy says, I mean, we could talk forever about the issues on the employer side of the table. But one thing I liked about what Sandy said was, of course, you have to recognize that there is a problem that needs to be addressed, and we have a solution for that. But I also like the aspect that, and it reminded me of the story about the banker that said, hey, this even works at home. There's so many times that I see all these things that we talk about in terms of soft skills and how they are not only appropriate in the job, but they filter into your everyday life. And that's one added bonus that we can teach people to take some of those skills into their everyday life, to where their everyday life is much better as well. So, I think that we've got some great ideas and to tailor for companies to offer them these services.
Lisa?
What's that? I kind of came in at the end, so I don't know what we're talking about exactly.
What we're talking about, the calling of bringing humanity together. Why have we been called together as a group of individuals from around the world to do what we're doing, and what really called to you and say, hey, I wanted to join Chris and Carla and Patrick and Sandy on this journey? What was that for you, Lisa?
So really for me, it was fairly similar to what I heard Carla say, in that, I see in the HR arena or on the employer side, I see a lot of gaps in a sense that we are just not treating each other the best that we can. And it's not just on the employer side, but it's just in your everyday lives. There's a lot of gaps and negativity in how we're treating people, and it's really sad to see. And I really just believed in the mission, because I want to make life better for everyone, for everyone around us in general, and obviously myself included. So that's really why I'm here, and I feel like that is a lifetime mission for me in a sense, because I've always been interested in making life better for others.
Yes, and that is truly amazing why all of you have joined me on this journey, because it either truly resonated with you, it spoke to you, it was right in alignment with you, whatever that might be. So I'll go to none other to my great friend and our great friend, Brian Sumner. Brian, what does calling mean to you?
Well, I think we've talked about it. I came into it a little differently, from a slightly different context. Not particularly the antithesis to humanity, but the recognition that humanity already exists in the workplace, and that we actually have a choice in the matter. That, going around telling people that humanity lacks or needs to be done a certain way, I think kind of does a disservice to the entire movement. So Chris, as you know, you and I kind of had many conversations about it, but I think I came at it a little bit of the recognition that, celebrate what we already have as opposed to what we don't have. And work it from that context. That, I still listen and hear when people say that humanity or something needs to be brought into an organization as if it's not there. I would contend that it's probably there, but just not in the form that you want it to be. So I think the conversation could be a little broader in terms of what are we trying to do versus, not trying to do, and maybe be a little more compassionate from the perspective that people are doing the best they can, and that businesses are doing the best they can in many ways based on what their context is or how their organization is set up, or, potential roadblocks or barriers or restrictions that are put in place for those companies and people to operate in those industries, that, as opposed to calling something wrong and it shouldn't be that way, and that's what it is. And now how do you figure out how to make it work for everyone? So I think that's kind of where I come from a little bit, Chris, that, things are a certain way, and let's work with what we have as opposed to what we don't have.
And I agree with you on that. I truly do, and that's part of the whole paradigm that I had in my head when I saw it before me back in 2017. That there could be a different path, there could be a different possibility, a different way of not only being, but maybe reaching to your end result that you're looking for, not only in your life but in the lives of others. It's like I learned from you, Brian. If you just let the conversation go, or the opportunity go for what it is and versus what's not there, and you let it grow and thrive and take it for what it is, then there can be a point of transformation out of that. And that transformation literally comes from nothing. That's literally something that wasn't even there before. And I've always been cognizant of that when you shared that with me. And I know what we will do here is be very aware about that, because I truly believe the smallest things that we can do is like we talked to this about before, about impression to impact. Does our impression correlate to the impact that we're seeking not only in our lives but in the lives of others? How does that show up to people? And again, that goes right back to what you shared with me about the models of the world. How do we view our model of the world in context with someone else's model of the world?
Michael, I'm sorry, I'm on a call. Bye.
Well, I believe that there's humanity in the workplace in the form of the humans are interacting with each other. And yes, we should take the good that's there already and not reinvent the wheel, but it certainly doesn't mean that we can't make it better.
I agree.
And that's really the angle I come from, is that, yeah, there are some people in the workplaces that are doing some great things, but and out in the community, but it's not as prevalent as I would like it to be, I guess. And so I guess my drive is to make it better.
Patrick?
Yeah, that's what it all boils down to, is try to make it better, because think about all of the negative things that are bombarding us in our daily lives, in social media and news. Nobody trusts anything anymore. We're the good guys here, and unfortunately, good guys, it's gonna be a tougher battle than the bad guys, But I mean, who wouldn't want to join the beautiful group of people? So.
And I was just talking to my son and my husband about something just a few days ago, and we were talking about the reviews you see online and how the majority of the reviews that you see are negative. It's because people don't take the time a lot of times, and I'm going to say I'm one of those people, right? And I need to lead by example and change that. But when you have a positive experience, when you're at this grocery store, do you go home and write a review online because you had a great experience? No, you usually don't take the time to do that unless you've had a negative experience. And why not? Why not thank the people that are doing a good job? Why not go home and write a review about the great person at McDonald's who took care of you and, whatever. And some people say, well, that's their job. Well, it doesn't matter if it's their job or not their job. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, thank you for taking care of me and smiling and doing the best you could. I don't know. I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from when we talk about humanity, is that more people need to take the time to state the positive and instead of focusing on the negative. And I think we'll find more positivity the more we do that. And like I said, I'm being honest, I don't take the time to do that, and I should.
Well, it's not the fact that you're a negative person or anything like that. It's just, you go through the drive-through and somebody gives you great customer service, and then you go on to your next activity and you don't give it another thought.
Exactly. But if I have a negative experience, I'm going to take the time to go home and write a review. So I guess just changing the things we focus on, to me, is where we need to go.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever written a negative review.
If somebody does something well, or I feel that they sort of went above and beyond, I ask them for their manager, contact for their manager, and I send their manager a note saying, this person has gone above and beyond and they really were helpful and, whatever, because I think they deserve to be commended. And I think that, their superior should know that they're going above and beyond. And so, and I always tell them, I said, I want to let people, let your manager know that I really appreciate what you did for me today. Mm-hmm. And they're usually very surprised because I guess, usually, so most people don't do this. But I do.
Probably thinking, oh my God, I thought I was nicer. What did I do?
Right.
Well, I tell them. And what I also do is a lot of the guys that have come here lately, because I make really good brownies that have Ghirardelli chocolate in them.
Ooh, I'm coming to your house.
Yeah. So when I've had some kind of a service guy here and they've done a really nice job for me, I give them some brownies. So they always want to come back so they can get some more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just think that it's very important that when somebody's done a good job, that you not only tell them, but you let their superior know so that they understand that they are providing a really good job and really good service for their company. And so, I always ask, who their superior is so that I can send a note. Sometimes I call, it depends what the situation is, but usually I send an email to them and say, this is what happened, and I just think you should know that this person goes above and beyond, and so on and so forth. And they did they really went out of their way to make sure that everything that we needed was taken care of. Right. And I think when you do that, they're going to be more likely to repeat that behavior too. So it's just a matter of encouraging people to do good things. I mean, it's just as easy to do negative things as it is to do nice things. So why don't we just do nice things? But just, if somebody does something really bad, I'll just, tell them that I wasn't very happy, but I won't necessarily take it much farther. I would more prefer to compliment people when they do a good job and let their superiors know that these people are really going above and beyond, because I think they should know. Because maybe they can get a promotion or a raise or, whatever. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But I think that they should know that they're doing a really good job. Like TELUS is a company here that does internet and does security systems and does your telephone and, all that kind of stuff. And we have a number of services with them. And there are two guys that I've had to my house who are amazing. And one of them, if I have a problem, I just phone him. And he thinks it's really funny. But he's happy to help me whenever I phone him, like there's never been a problem. And he knows that I have his manager's email because he gave it to me. And whenever he does something sort of above and beyond, then I let his manager know, because Marty is unbelievable. I mean, he really is. And I think that his manager should know that he goes above and beyond. And one other guy that was here also was in fact, he was really funny. He came in because I was having trouble with my internet. And he looked at my my machine. And he said to me, how old is that machine? That's exactly what he said to me. And I said, why? He says, well, looks pretty old to me. And I said, yeah, well, it probably is. We've been here almost 18 years, so it's likely 18 years old. He said, well, I'm going out to my truck and get you a new one.
Yeah. Just go ahead and replace it. Patrick, what's your thoughts?
So, Lisa, I really liked what you said about thank you earlier. I really think one of the restorative factors for humanity is the art and practice of use of thank you. Because do you know, as I told you guys before, if I meet somebody, before they walk away from my path, they're going to be smiling. And do you know the reason most of these people smile is because I thanked them. It didn't hurt me. It's not that tough. If we started that right there would make a big difference out in the world.
Yeah,
exactly.
Patrick, it's just as easy to say something nasty as it is to say something nice.
Exactly. So cut me off, thank you.
Seriously, like
Have a nice day.
Exactly. And Brian has a unique view on that too, as well, about when people are driving like a bat out of hell on the road.
Only
What have you shared with me on that?
Well, I guess it's a bit. We all have a default response to just about every situation in our life, and that default response largely comes from other people in our lives' decisions, that we've been conditioned to believe a certain thing. But suppose you're driving down the road and somebody cuts you off. Very often the typical response is getting angry. You honk your horn, you yell at them, you give them the finger, whatever.
You know my husband, huh?
But one of the things that's interesting is that the default response that we have is only predicated on the review or, watching of the actual behavior. We don't have the context from which that person is operating. So suppose somebody cuts you off and you get angry and they pull into a parking space that you were about to pull into, and then they go running into a room. Well, how do you know that they don't have an emergency? What if they were bringing medicine to a loved one or something, right? I mean, so we have a default response without knowing the full context of the behavior, because we're taking our, model of the world, how things show up to us, and projecting it and assigning it to what we see in front of us. But that's not really what's happening, perhaps. So one of the things that's interesting is that, we all have a default response, but we could also choose to have 3, 4, 5, or 6 other responses, right? I mean, I might get angry, but that doesn't mean I have to respond or react in an angry fashion. I can pause, I can reflect on what it is, and I can choose to act a different way. So it gets a bit to where our feelings, thoughts, and emotions actually have nothing to do with our behavior, right? I mean, we talk to people and see people's behavior and we get angry at them. That doesn't mean we always respond to it, right? Yeah, obviously sometimes it occurs, but we have the ability not to, Chris. So I think so much of what we can do is, not respond as quickly. You can slow things down. You can pay attention. You can, as we've talked about, you don't assign your belief system on someone else. I mean, that's ultimately what models of the world are, is respecting other people from their model of the world. They look at the world and situation differently. And it's not about imposing your belief system on them. It's understanding and getting close to theirs so that you can motivate them based on their model of the world, not yours, right? And unfortunately, I think we see the opposite occurring all over the world. I mean, so much of social media, so much of the news is do what I say because that's what I think you should do. But that doesn't make it appropriate for everyone. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, whether it be the pandemic or vaccines or masks or, how to get a job or what to wear at a job or how long you should stay at a job or how nice you should be to a coworker, all these things are subjective to personal things. Like, there isn't one size fits all. Right? I mean, it's like leadership. If there was one way to lead the world, everybody would lead the world that way, or a company. But it doesn't work that way. And I think part of it is, look, in my opinion, a lot of this has come from technology, right? I mean, technology is very good at streamlining and creating processes where people are more efficient, faster. But it removes the element of the person, largely, right? I mean, I could drive to a gas station. I don't have to talk to anyone. I can put a credit card in and get gas, and the machine will help me and do everything. I don't need to actually have interaction. I can go in and I can order something on a kiosk, and all of a sudden food appears, right? I mean, it's efficient, it's great, but I don't actually have to talk to anyone. And I think that's one of the things that's happening in the world, right? I mean, even if you look at the language that's been used over the last 24 months, right? Social distancing. Well, it's not social distancing, it's actually physical distancing. But the social distancing actually creates an issue where people believe they're not social with each other. It actually does harm because people buy into this stuff and become entranced and manipulated. But it's actually physical distancing. I mean, we're socially distanced here, and we're talking, but we're still socializing. So it actually has kind of a weird connotation. I think language has a lot to do with it, Chris. Really do.
But I love what you said to me yesterday about belief in that quote that you said to me yesterday about changing the belief, not the believer.
Yeah, I mean, you don't change what you know, you change how you know it. Right? I mean, that's ultimately what it is. But unfortunately, what the world tries to do and what most people try and do is they try and change the person. Right? I mean, we can all look at a situation. Six of us will look at something and we'll have a completely different view of whatever situation it is. But what happens is people will then say, okay, Chris, you look at it one way, I look at another. And I'll start telling you, Chris, if it was a normal interaction, how wrong you are for looking at it that way. And you should look at it this way, and that's what it is. And you're wrong, and your belief systems are wrong. As opposed to taking what you said, looking at it and say, that's interesting. Have you considered to look at it this way? Because there's another opportunity here, right? And it's not to force it to you. It's to present something to you that you can look at in light of your own experience. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't, throw it away.
Absolutely. And when he said that to me, I was like, wow. Don't change the belief. Don't even change the believer. Just change the way it is looked at. Because you're not going to change anybody. Because when you try to change people, they are going to be hesitant, put up the walls, and this, that, and the other. I know I've done it for far too many years when I was younger. I was so headstrong and hard-headed. Oh, I knew everything. No, I didn't. You know.
I don't know any young people that think they know everything.
Well, you got to remember, when I was working at McDonald's, and this is the thing that me and Carla share, we actually both worked at McDonald's. I thought I knew it all when I worked at McDonald's. I thought I was like the best trainer of trainers. I was like, I knew it all. I was actually doing inventory counts, all that kind of stuff. But did I really actually know it? Come to find out, after I left the company, I didn't even know half the stuff that was actually there. I was totally just blindsided. Well, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh. But see, the one thing that I've learned from my father that's truly relevant to this conversation today, especially when it comes to the relevance of calling, is if we can go and at least learn one new thing a day, even when it comes to relevance of a calling, how are you going to build that calling? Do you start at your purpose or your why? Or it's just like what Brian has said, but there's some people do it from the why perspective. People do it from the do perspective. There's many ways to get there. And I truly believe that is something that we can actually harness and really uplift humanity and say, hey, take a look at this. What shows up to you this way? Does it resonate with you? Can you kind of go outside the box a little bit and say, I didn't think of that. Wow. It's like what Brian told me many times. Hey, that sounds great. Let's explore that. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've become very good at gratuitously giving people answers without recognizing that there are answers, and it doesn't mean it's their answers. I saw something on LinkedIn the other day from Simon Sinek, and it was something about how to teach people how to be more vulnerable. And I just found it kind of interesting because it comes to, we have to listen to what Simon says. Like it's his version of how to be more vulnerable. Well, thank you, Simon, but I'm not you. And frankly, I don't really care what you have to say. Like, I can figure out how to be vulnerable or not on my own. Like, that's my discovery, not yours. And that's where I push back on a lot of the so-called guru, genius, life coach person who give us these answers, but they never pre-qualify and say, these are my answers. Go figure it out for yourself. And that's where I think it's becoming kind of disjointed, because I think inherently people hear it and kind of find it a bit strange when they get told how to live their life. Now, I'm not saying people don't want answers and aren't searching for answers. I just think we're very easy to give up our power to other people to tell us how to go about doing it, as opposed to actually taking the time and figuring it out for ourselves. Like that's where it becomes interesting because we're so used to this microwave, instantaneous, what's the answer? I'm going to Google it. But I could look something up on Google and it might have zero relevance to what it is. It might be something that happens on the other side of the world in a one-off case, and I can say, oh, that's what it is, but that doesn't make it is. And that's where I think it's an interesting conversation, because we look at companies, it's like, okay, well, the corporation's been around for 70, 80 years in its current form. I mean, it, has rights as a person and all different kinds of things. Who's to say a company has to operate anyway? Right? And as we've talked about, what's the purpose of it? Like, a company's job is not there to make you happy as an employee. It's just not. That's not its purpose.
Right.
Like, it's not to say that you don't treat people well and be nice to people and treat them like people, but that's not the purpose of a business. And that's where I think people are starting to blur the lines. Like, we forget that a company actually has responsibilities outside of us as employees. Like,
Yeah.
that's where it becomes kind of a fascinating conversation, because people want certain things, but they fail to realize, well, that's not what it is. Like, you can look at it for countries' political systems, economic systems aren't created in the model that we think they are. They were done for reasons. Maybe some of those reasons are antiquated, some of them aren't. But, countries are founded on certain principles which may or may not be relevant today, but we don't even bother to recognize why they were founded. And we just critique it and say it's wrong because I want it to be this way because I want to feel good about myself. Well, I don't know about you, but frankly, I'm sure the people who founded the company don't really care, right? I mean, they didn't have you in mind. Like, that wasn't the point. So I think one of the calls to action, Chris, might be, let's not take ourselves so seriously.
Yes.
We're not as important as we think we are.
Well, can we go back to the vulnerability and what you were talking about, how people that are coaching this and coaching that talk to people about being more vulnerable? I agree in just being more authentic, and who you are is who you are. But when I think about being more vulnerable, I think about airing all my dirty laundry. I mean, what's the advantage of that? Of telling someone to be more vulnerable?
I don't know. I didn't listen to it in its entirety. I took a screen grab of it and have it somewhere as a picture. But it was just kind of funny because we're listening to I thought of the game Simon Says, right? And we have to listen to what Simon says because it was Simon Sinek, so I thought it was appropriate. But yeah, like I don't know what does being vulnerable mean, right? I mean, if we went around, the six of us, we would all have a different version of it. Right? I mean, you talk about any word. I don't know. What do you think vulnerability is or isn't? Should it be, Carla? I mean,
I'm trying to put words to it. When I think of people talking about, well, I'm going to be real and raw, and I guess I think about it in terms of people saying, like, I heard about this in a post that somebody did with another group about how, I've had to take a pause on business and I'm going to get more intentional about it. And life's been tough and I've gone through a messy divorce and all of a sudden I'm feeling like they're airing their dirty laundry. And it didn't change the way that I thought about the person. If anything, it made me realize, well, it's nice to know that people go through stuff like the rest of us, I don't know. And when you're talking about being more vulnerable, is that like being real and raw? Well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to nobody wants to hear the shit I've gone through in life.
Well,
that might be cathartic for me, but it's certainly not going to help anyone else. And if it were with a company, they don't give two hoots about it anyway.
So here's a great analogy, Carla, for you in golf.
Oh, okay.
Most people step up to the first tee before they play with a bunch of friends, and the first thing they say is, I haven't played in quite a while. I'm not sure what's going to happen. So they're in effect lowering expectations. They're building up a wall so they don't embarrass themselves,
Right.
so that they can go play. I mean, I've gone through all these wonderful courses, talk to people, whatever. Your example, I've gone through all this, I've gone through hell and back in the last whatever. Well, it's just telling you, okay, well, that's the reason they're not doing what it is that they say they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'm not saying it's not valid. It's just, it's unnecessary to mention it. Look, I mean, I work in M&A, and I couldn't tell you how many companies justify their financials because of external circumstances or something happened, or, you know, there'll be a time where, you know, look, they keep blaming things on COVID. Well, eventually that's not going to be an excuse any longer.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want you to expand on that too. You said excuses.
What was that?
Excuses.
Well, we all have them, right? And we all make up stories about why we don't accomplish what it is we say we're going to accomplish for various reasons. And the point is, in a way, it's living as a victim. That the external circumstances are the reason why I can't do something. Now, I'm not saying it's not valid, and I'm not saying there aren't situations like that. But there's oftentimes people are much more adept to do this and point outside of themselves and say, well, my boss was mean to me, so I couldn't get my work done today. Right? Or whatever. And it sounds fine, but it's still an excuse. It's, you know, in business, at some level, it's either you get the work done or you don't get the work done.
Right.
Right? You either sell the product or you don't sell the product. You know, the reason why becomes less important. And I think people want people to love their excuses so much, or their reasons why they didn't do it. It's like, okay, well, you didn't do it. That doesn't mean you get a second chance or a third chance or a fourth chance. Right? I mean, you have an exam in college, you show up for the exam the next day and you decided to spend the entire night partying and you didn't study and you bomb a test. And then the first thing you do to your teacher is say, hey, I had a really late night. Can I take the test again? Like, that's kind of what's happening in the workplace, right?
Yep.
It's like, oh, well, you know, I had a bad night. I couldn't do this. I got really distracted. I felt a lot of pressure and I couldn't compete in the Olympics. So, you know, give me a second chance. It's like, at some level, you have to just kind of be like, you have a chance and that's what it is. Like, and I'm not saying you're mean to people, but, you know, there comes a time where you have to hold people accountable for their own actions.
Right. What's your thought on that, Lisa?
Well, I think he's right in that, yeah, we have to hold people accountable to their actions. And I think people innately have excuses I think it helps people feel better because they didn't do something. Okay. You know, and like Brian said, maybe there are real reasons why they couldn't get something done. But at the same time, how many times are you going to say, well, I'm not getting healthier because I can't, you know, well, what is it that you can't, or whatever the case may be, you know, what is it that you can't do and why are you not finding a way to just get it done?
Yeah. What self-imposed fear have you put in the way?
Right. It's usually some sort of fear that's, you know, you say, oh, well, I can't eat, you know, green vegetables, so I can't get healthy. Well, you can eat green vegetables, you choose not to. And so again, it kind of goes back to that. And so I agree with that in that sense. for sure.
I don't think anybody cares about the excuses. I think if you are supposed to get something done and do something, then just suck it up and do it. Nobody cares about the excuses.
Excuses are only done to make the person feel better, if only for a moment.
Well,
It's not good enough, Patrick.
That's it.
If you are supposed to handle something and do something, throwing excuses at people doesn't help you. Stand back, suck it up, and get it done.
it's so different. Yeah. It's so different when you work for yourself because you set your own goals. It's not like some boss is telling you have to have a project done by such and such a time. You set your own goals. And yes, you may meet those goals, or let's just say you're going to reach out to 10 companies to see if they're interested in the services that you have to offer. And yes, you would like to get a 50% return on that, and you'd like to have 5 people sign up for your services every week. And yes, that would be your ultimate goal. But if you don't do the reach outs and contact those companies, it's not going to happen. So in that respect, I see a lot of this goal setting stuff as a motivator, as opposed to if you're in a real job, you have a project that you have to finish. It's like the goals are different. Your goals should actually be the action that you're going to take, whether it's going to be contacting X number of companies in a week to present your services to them, or you're going to get a particular project done.
Well, when you're in business for yourself, though, it's either make sales or do what you need to do to make a profit, or you don't eat that day. Right. I mean, so again, it's totally different. It doesn't mean we can't be humane in the process, but we have things that we need to get done. Like Brian said earlier, the company has a purpose, and its true purpose isn't to treat, their people. It's not about their people per se, even though it's the people that get the job done. So they're interconnected, as Chris would say. They're interconnected. And so one without the other, I think, is just a defeating purpose. But that's just my opinion, So
without the other, nothing would ever happen.
Right.
The spark would never take.
It's kind of like a business that doesn't focus on quality. If they don't focus on quality, they're not going to get repeat business.
Right.
So again, they have to focus on their people in their journey of their purpose, right? Otherwise, the people that help them get that purpose completed or help them with that journey, they're not going to want to keep doing it per se, because they're not being treated properly. So they're interconnected and they have to go together. A business is not in business for the people, per se. So, but they have to rely on others to finish their journey or to work through their purpose to be able to provide a service or a product. So it is interconnected. So, I mean, again, I agree that there are things that we have to look at. We have to hold people accountable and so forth. Yeah.
Well, Brian, you brought up this great piece. I create a list of things that I will not get done each day.
Yes. Well,
how do you do that?
There are things I have. See, most people aren't good with what they have, because if they think they have something, they think they actually have to do something with it. Like, I have a lot to do in my job, and I have stuff, but that doesn't mean I have to do all of it today, tomorrow, or the next day. And what happens is we end up writing these to-do lists, which I don't think are all that effective. And you might have 15 things on a to-do list, and you might be able to have time to get to 1 or 2 or 3 of those things. And then you look at the list and you feel like, oh, I haven't done anything today because I have 14 other things. But I'm very intentional to know that I'm not going to get to everything, and I prioritize what am I going to do, and I put the rest on the list to say, I'm not going to get to this today, and it's okay. I have it, but I don't have to do anything with it. It can
Right.
just be there,
Mhm.
right? So I don't always do this, so I can't say this as an absolute, but I plan out my week, and I have, valuable or important things that I have to do each week. And I prioritize them 1 through 4, and underneath all of them. And, if I get to, the third and fourth things, that's great. But I don't fret over it. So I almost kind of create a list that I know I'm not going to get to that today.
Mhm.
It's okay. It'll get pushed off till tomorrow or the next day or whenever I have to do it. It's they're important, but they're not A priority, B priority, C priority. I mean, look, people have all their different ways of going about it, but each, I don't know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, depending on the day that I get time to do it, I put together an entire brain dump, if you will, of things I have to do in the upcoming week. And I have planned out my schedule for the next couple of weeks, and there's several things that are recurring in there. I mean, I plan in breaks, I plan in free times, lunches, dinners, all different things. And I put together for myself, I put together blocks of time each day that are no more than 90 minutes. So I might have 1 or 2, sometimes 3 blocks of 90 minutes. And in that 90 minutes, I'm just doing my work. I shut everything off and I'm just working. And once 90 minutes is up, I'm done. Take a break.
Right.
Because look, I mean, there's enough research out there that says that you do your most efficient work in 90-minute segments. Anytime after that, you start to deteriorate. So you have to kind of recharge, take over, do other things. I set time for daydreaming and just thinking about stuff and reading and other things. Like, and I think, Carla, I think we've talked about this. I mean, I've stopped watching the news, reading the news. I think I spend maybe 10 minutes a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, just kind of perusing what's happening around the world.
Mhm.
Just to stay updated, but yeah, for the most part, it becomes a different way of looking at things, Chris, where I don't get carried away with external things, so I'm very comfortable with, I have stuff to do, but not going to happen today. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And I block in time because look, there are times where things show up, customers call, people call, clients, all of a sudden you want to do it and you're trying to fit it into certain things. It's like, well, no, I have time at this time we can, so
Yeah.
Right.
different ways of going about and managing your time.
Right.
Yeah. The best thing that ever happened to me was to block schedule.
Brian, that it doesn't matter, because if you prioritize your list, you'll do the things that are most important first, and you'll get to that other stuff when you have time to get to it. Doesn't matter. It's the key things that have to get done, that have to be at the top of your list. I mean, it just, there's a lot of things that we put on our list that aren't that important. So if we don't get to it today, it's not the end of the world. But it's just a matter of getting done the things that really should get done, that need to get done.
Yeah, and even to say on that, Sandy, even those in a work environment in an office. I mean, we've all experienced those people who say, "Hey, can you help me out with this project?" And you're in the middle of a project, and you take away from what you're doing to help them, and right. I mean, so you almost have to be straight with them and say, "No, I can't help you. I can help you at this time, but not now because you're doing this." And that leads to a lot of inefficiency in the workplace too, where people just aren't straight with people. They're very happy to mingle and do stuff.
Right. And that's so well said, everyone. So this is what inspired me to create this conversation today. And I'm going to pull it up on my screen here. And it's just a great thing to me, and I just love it to death. And it comes from John C. Maxwell, and he talks about the calling. So let's play. It's only 2 minutes long, but I want to get your thoughts on this after it ends, and then we'll go to Michael Baker's comments and listen from everybody on what Michael said today. So here we go.
Welcome to Minute with Maxwell. Hi, my name is John. The word today is calling. I wrote a book in the last couple of years called Leadership. And one of the chapters in the book is having the ability to shift from a career to a calling. You see, a career is kind of what I'm doing for myself. I'm building my resume and my career, and I'm trying to climb the ladder. The calling is pretty much more about others. I think a calling is higher than a career. In fact, I tell people all the time, as they're climbing that career ladder, it's going to be a sad day for them when they get to the top and find out it's leaning against the wrong building. I say it all the time. I would hope that you would move from a career that is yours to a calling that helps and adds value to other people. I've known a lot of unhappy people that had a successful career. But I don't know one unhappy person. I've never met an unfulfilled unhappy person that had a calling to add value to others. It's the fulfillment of doing something beyond yourself for others. Wanting more for others than what you want for yourself. It's that sweet spot that we have that we call calling. I want that for you. I read a book entitled Heaven is Waiting. The whole thesis of the book is there's something bigger for you and for me than what we now have. Now, I don't know what that is for you. To explore this area in your life. I'm glad you're with me today. For a minute with Maxwell.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is truly powerful. That is why I have the calling that I do. And probably we all share. To be a part of something bigger than of ourselves. Because I truly believe leadership is downstream of culture. If we have the right leaders, create the great environments that can be there for us all to share and be a part in, why not at least give that to people? It's like what I shared with Paula Quinese in a Humans First call. And I said this in the call. I was like, create better environments and you get better results. To me, it's just that simple. So I want everybody to kind of touch on a little bit on this, and then we'll go to Michael Baker's comments and everything. So what speaks to you, Lisa, about that video?
Really just doing something that's bigger than ourselves. You know, I think that's really important in life in general, not just for workplaces, but for life in general, just to be involved in something that's bigger than ourselves.
Patrick?
Career is the calling, as manager is the leader.
Say that again?
Career is the calling, like manager is the leader.
Ooh.
Deep, right? Yeah.
It is deep.
Yeah, because I mean, basically, the gap that determines the difference between manager and leader, it's kind of the same thing here. It's that chasm that has to be crossed.
Sandy?
Well, I think that you feel better when you are doing something for others than just doing stuff for yourself. And I think when we help others to be better, it makes us better. It's just a matter of looking at things in a different way. And I think, you know, when those things are bigger than us. And as I've mentioned many times, I mean, the reason I went into healthcare was to help people. And the reason that I'm doing soft skills, it's the same thing. I'm helping people to be the best they can be by providing them with support and skills and strategies and approaches that will make their lives easier and better and all those kinds of things. But again, you can only help people if they want to be helped. So you have to choose who you're helping. And actually, in a lot of situations, wait till they come to you. Because if they come to you, then they know they need help and they're looking for that kind of support. So it's just a matter of, I would never impose what I know or my own experiences on others because it doesn't relate to other people. It's my experience. But sometimes I use stories to exemplify things because human beings can relate to other human stories. But it's just a matter of, again, it's so much better to help others. I mean, there's just nothing, at least I don't think so. It's why I've done a lot of volunteer work in my life. I like seeing, things come to fruition and that it benefits people that are far less, in a far less beneficial position or good position than I've enjoyed in my life. And if I can help people, it makes me happy. And, it's just a matter of what are you doing with your life? I mean, life is way too short not to enjoy it. And if you're not doing things that you enjoy, and that if you're not getting back from the things that you're doing, you're going to miss your life because that's it. And basically in the grand scheme of things, that's what our life is. It's a snap of your fingers. So you need to enjoy it. You need to have fun. You need to appreciate what you're doing and feel good about what you're doing. And if you can accomplish that, you win. It's just, it's that simple. But I think a lot of people never find that because they're too much focused on themselves. It's always me. I'm sorry. That's not the best way to live your life. It's really not. And it's not necessarily in the end going to make you feel that good either. I mean, they may think so, but it's really not. People who give, get. It's the old story, what goes around comes around. You're nice to other people, you give to other people. Guess what? If you ever need anything, they'll be happy to help you. So it's just a matter of what are you putting out there in the world? People know that you're a giver. Well, they may take advantage of you, but if you don't care and you just want to make them happy, then it doesn't matter. But then if you need something, you'll have a lot of people to go to for help.
Carla?
I think I love what Sandy said about healthcare, and I think back to when I first started in healthcare in the late 70s, and it was based on I love the fact that I used to watch all these medical shows on TV and just determine, kind of with what the storyline was, what was the illness they had, how were they going to treat it, what kind of surgery were they going to have. I know that's ridiculous, but that's just the way it was. And I decided I wanted to go into nursing, and I just kind of love that technical part of it, But then over the years, I saw people getting more and more unhealthy and not taking care of themselves. And I realized that our healthcare system was broken. We're not paying attention to chronic disease. And I realized that I wasn't serving people the way that I wanted to. And after 40 years, I found a way to shift from that career to a passion. And it was scary to do. But I'm so glad that I did it. And until you actually do it and realize what that shift in, like John C. Maxwell says, leaning your ladder on the right building, whether it be the career building or your passion building, finding something that fulfills your passion is so much more fulfilling than any job. So I tell people, there's so many people out there that are in a job that is not satisfying to them, but they don't even look to see what their passion is. They can't even sit down and think about and dream about tomorrow, let alone identify what their passion is. Their passion, if they know it, is so far off, they don't even know where to begin or how to get it. And they're scared to death to even consider it. So I love what he's talking about of making that career shift. And he identifies that there's so many people that are unhappy in a career that need to find a passion and allow themselves to find that passion.
Brian?
I think it has a lot to do with values. We all have different things that are important to us. And in the workplace, I mean, we've been told that you have to find why you do something. Why you do something is the most important thing. And, again, thanks to Simon Sinek and his book and his TED Talks, and people have run with this. But I think it's misguided in the sense that it's only half or a quarter of what people get sparked with. There's some people who love why they do it. That's really what drives them. But there's a lot of people out there who love what they do and love everything about what they do. There's a lot of people who love who they do it for. And there's a lot of people who love how they do it. I mean, you look at some of the most successful athletes and celebrities, or, radio or music personalities, they're driven to be the best in the world at what they do. So I think it's a bit short-sighted to say you just have to find your passion, but your passion could be multiple things, right? I mean, not everybody's driven by the same thing, and you only need one. Like I'm more of a what person than I am a why person. And I've always found it kind of an ironic, interesting conversation when people get very involved in putting the greater good, and I'm doing this for other people. And I always looked at it from a fundraising standpoint, that raising funds for a business has nothing to do with the business or what they're doing largely. It has all to do with the fundraiser. So I hear, look, this is just how it occurs to me. When I hear people say, I work for the greater good and it makes me feel good, yeah, that inherently to me is a selfish act. I do it because it makes me feel good. See, I hear that, look, I'm still, in my experience, our personal values will always supersede that of the greater good. And it's not to say you don't work for the greater good or trying to make an impact. I'm just saying we are inherently selfish beings. Our safety, our well-being will come first, right? I mean, what's the joke? When you run up against a bear, I don't have to be the fastest person. I just have to be faster than the slowest person, right? So I think we misinterpret and forget that, yeah, we can do good, but it's also selfish to do good because it makes me feel good. It's not a mutually exclusive. Like, I'm okay with helping other people and recognizing that, yeah, I do it because it makes me feel good too. It can be both. Like, I'm not altruistic enough where it's like, oh, I'm just doing this for you, Chris.
Brian,
Yeah, that might be part of it, but I like being involved because I enjoy it.
Go ahead, Sandy.
Well, I do what I do because I love what I do, and I have fun. And when I have fun, the people in my workshops have fun. And that's really, to me, what it's all about. Learning should be fun. It should be interesting. It should be engaging. And that's what I try to do with my sessions, so that people have a retentive learning experience. And then I've had fun, and I love what I do. To me, it's very challenging to create something that's going to be helpful to people. And I like doing that. It's always been interesting to me. And that's one of the reasons why I got my degree in education.
Absolutely. And I think, Sandy, it's looked at a little negatively when we say I do it because I enjoy it too. Like, it's almost like nowadays it's like, oh, you can't do it for your own good. Well, why not? like
Well,
I can make money just as you can make money, just as Patrick or anyone. Like, who cares? Great.
I meet interesting people. I've learned about so many different industries because of what I do, and it's been fun. I mean, it's not only been rewarding, but it's been fun, and I really enjoy the challenge of putting together these programs for my clients so that I can provide them with things that they're looking for.
Yeah. So I want to go to a couple comments real quick, and then we'll close out the show today from Michael Baker, because there was one in here that really spoke to me. And he said, focus on the task on hand until it's completed. However, there are times when you need a break some certain things in order to get overwhelmed by it or to see it more clearly. I totally resonate with that. And see, for me at least, what I do is I am intentional in what I do, but unlike you, Brian, I don't have a not to do list. I'm actually in the opposite. I actually have a to do list, but I know in my head these are the things that I have to do and get done to get things not only held accountable to me, but to the rest of the team. And I know that. But see, I just let things, I'll go back to John C. Maxwell yet again. If we're willing to go give our 100% and do it from a 1% model, if we are willing to give that 1% today, you can do things like you said in the 90-minute block section. So if that's that 1% for the 90 minutes, then so be it. Great. Let it be. And that's what I love about that. And I like what he just said here. When you enjoy what you do and allow it to flow in through you, oh, he's talking about the force. He's talking about the force. I see it. As often as get lost in it, and just time flies by when you're involved in it. That absolutely is true, Michael. And all what you said today, Michael, is truly resonating with all of us, and that's why I truly believe you're a part of this too as well. So I greatly appreciate every single one of you for your insights, your support, your willingness to take this journey, not only with me, but maybe more importantly with each other. Because to me, it's the conversation that we should have to at least open up another possibility for humanity and say, hey, let's look at it differently. Can we find another possibility into that? And I'm a true believer of the power of positivity and the power of possibility. Again, they're interconnected. So I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you so much. We're going to do this, and we're going to be steadfast and steadstrong, and we are going to bring humanity together, and I dare say we will bring humanity into business and beyond. So everyone, I greatly appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you tomorrow. What, for the 19th hole tomorrow, or is it going to be 18?
Oh, I don't know.
No sips and tips today?
No, I'm actually going to go play around.
Oh, nice.
I'll be on about the 8th hole
I
tomorrow.
gave up on the tips and tips. I mean, if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I want to go out and play, you know?
Nice.
I'll be out there tomorrow.
Nice. Hit a hole in one, both of you, please. I like to see the picture of it. There you go.
I got close. I got about 3 feet away on a par 3 a couple.
Wow.
But I mean, I was happy to get it to the green, so I was really happy when it was really close. I was taking pictures of it and sending it to my husband. Of course, then I 2-putted, so you know, hey.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Make it your day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Humanity Happy Hour.